Hello and welcome, crochet friends, to G Crochet Off the Hook. I'm G, Geraldine, sharing my love of crochet. Thank you so much for joining me on my crochet adventures, some of the other crafting adventures that we get up to. It's been a minute. Life has been hectic, but today I'd love to catch you all up on some of the crochet alongs that I'm taking part in, as well as Grumpy Bear's adventures. Let's start with Grumpy Bear. Now, Grumpy Bear has been hiding out in this pot since May. Let's have a look what May's outfit was for Grumpy Bear. Now, Grumpy Bear is a paid-for pattern by Cassandra from Craftably Ever After. And since January, she has been treating us to some free accessories for Grumpy Bear. And in May, Grumpy Bear joined some culinary classes. He sure did. He decided he was going to hop into the kitchen and learn to make a few wintry dishes. Most of them consists of soup-based dishes where everything can go into one pot and doesn't need much looking after. So we got to make him this adorable chef's hat, which is securely tied at the back of his head, as well as his apron in true form, tied, wrapped around at the back and tied in the front. And for his apron, I decided to do some embroidery. And it did take a few tries, but at the end of the day, I winged it, and we have what resembles a pot. The food that he's been making is in a big pot. So there's Grumpy Bear. Now, for June, Grumpy Bear does have an outfit, and I did share him. Yes, I know I won't make you put it on again. I did promise we wouldn't have him fitted again. It's winter down in the south, and he's just not got any thoughts about going near some swimming pools or being cold. But on Instagram, I did put on his June accessories, and he chose the colors cranberry and mustard. So he does have a pair of swimming trunks, which we'll put into his clothing box so that he can put it back on during summer month. There's his little space for his tail, and he also has a grumpy floaty. Now, both of these accessories are available on Craftably Ever After's blog to download. So even though you may not have the season for some summery goodness, you can always outfit Grumpy with June's make and store them away for him for warmer weather. So there's our Grumpy in his pot. I'm sure he's thinking of what it is that he can put on to slow cook for this weekend. So that was Grumpy Bear. And as we have all been saying to each other, I'm sure, passing by on our YouTube videos, the months are surely flying by. And there's only a week left, and I'll be sitting in anticipation waiting to see what we have for July's accessory for Grumpy Bear. Okay, let's catch up on some of the crochet alongs. Now, the first one that I have been able to complete, yes, I just posted about this one today, and I was so happy because this is the one that I got the little yarn haul for, and that is Build a Blanket Cowl with Litter at Coco's Crochet. And we have just recently had combo number 4, and I was so happy because it's one of the colors that was in the pack, and our stitch was the alpine stitch. Now I am attempting to make a square blanket for 2 of the cowls that I'm taking part in. One was, well, I really did want to have a project that was going around and not back and forth. So for this one, our first combo was the granny stitch in purple. We did the puff stitch in pink. In blue, I had Ford blue. We did the grit stitch. That was a new stitch to me. And on this square, that was the first stitch where I did actually turn the blanket so that I could do the second part on the back and then turn it back this side, and that's how I did the rows. On this blanket, that is the first time I've done that. So far, the rest of the stitches are all worked with the project facing me and just making the stitches work. So far, I have been fortunate that by ending each section with a double crochet round to end it off, which I've done with this one as well, the stitch counts have matched the stitches that we've had so far. And I'm hoping that by the end of this Build a Blanket Cowl for 2026, that I'll have a lovely size lap blanket. And that's why I sort of wanted to try to make these in a square. I am expecting there will still be a stitch coming along that will have me fudge somewhere along the line, and that's going to be the challenge. But for right now, fortunately, each stitch combo that has made its appearance, I have been able to fit nicely going around in a square. So for this one, I'm using a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook, and the yarn is Kismet's Chunky. I have this one still attached. This is the yarn that I'm using, and this color that we just got to use was mustard yellow. That brings me to our second crochet along, and that is Roll a Row with Lynn from Lynn Penguin's Creation. And for this one, I have actually started using a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. Now again, for this particular blanket, which I'm hoping will be a lap blanket by the time we finish with this cowl, I'm using a totally different yarn. This one is Elite Yarn Snowball Poolskin DK. And I had set aside at the beginning of the cowl 3 different colors, and I have now been able to use the third color. So going forward, however the game is played, if we should stay or move on to another color, I'll be swapping between the 3 that you see now. So for Lynn, we have rolled the dice, and we started with the popcorn stitch. Then we stayed with the same color, and we had the V stitch. I think that was 8 rows, 12 rows. Then we got to change color, and I changed to this royal blue, which is going to be way too dark to see. And we did the moss stitch. And just this past weekend, Monday, Lynn rolled the dice again, and we got to change the color, and we had the V stitch. Now, this one is proving to be more challenging to me with the stitches that we've had so far. And while it's fresh in my head, I'm going to share some of those challenges very quickly with you. So the popcorn that we started with, I did not even think to do a popcorn stitch and then a solid stitch in between. So say a popcorn stitch and then a row of single, then the popcorn, or half double or double. You could have chosen any of those stitches. I just went for it and only did 8 rounds of the popcorn stitch. So the center of this lap blanket is a little bit heavy, but when I do block it, everything straightens out quite squarely. My second challenge was with the V stitch. Now, doing the V-stitch in a square, the last time I updated on this blanket, I had done 6 rounds of the 12 for this V-stitch section. And I happily continued with row 7 and 8. And then things just started looking rather peculiar. And I hopped onto YouTube to see, is there perhaps something that we should keep in mind when we are doing the V-stitch as a square? And surely there was. And of the few videos that I watched to get my bearings, it boils down to, depending on your yarn and hook, that every 5th row that I did, when you start right in the corner over here, you actually skip a V-stitch on each side as you're going around. And that helps to prevent that wavy look that happens when you're squishing too many V-stitches into the round. So it worked out well. I did have to frog 7 and 8. Then I also frogged 6 and 5 and started again on the 5th round, skipping a stitch. And then I did 7, 8, 9. On the 10th one, I also skipped in each corner a V-stitch. And then I was able to finish with 11 and 12. The moss stitch is, and these two I was doing with a 5mm crochet hook. It's the right hook size for the yarn that I'm using. But of course we know that the moss stitch, being a single crochet chain 1, oftentimes when we are crocheting that chain 1, we might not make it loose enough. So then the work can start to sort of bow in. So I had the foresight when I started to change the hook size to a 5.5, and that did work out well for me. So the moss stitch, again, fortunately so far, I think because everything is more or less stitch counts that can be worked in 2, I haven't run into any fudging yet. And then of course, when I had the V-stitch this past Monday, I knew straight away that I would only do 1, 2, 3, 4, and on the 5th one, I would do that skipping of the V-stitch on each side, and then I was able to end off with round 6, just going all the way around. So that's our roll a row with Lynn from Lynn Penguin's Creations. And I had some spare time and some YouTube company, so I was able to sit down and, knowing what I had to do with the V-stitch to get everything to look good, finish that off rather quick. So I was very happy with that. Then our last cowl at the moment, which is coming to a close this Saturday, is with Sally at Nanny Moon's Crochet. And for the past, this Saturday will be week 6 already. We were making star blankets. And I am pretty sure I did manage to show you all the baby star blanket that I was making. It was this one. I chose a white and a blue for this one, and I did the 8-point star blanket. Not sure if I shared the video tutorial I refreshed my memory with for the 8-point star was a video with Bag O Day, and I will link that this time so that if you were wanting to see that particular one, you were able to. So I did finish this one, and I was wanting to make a second star blanket, but this time much smaller, in the form of a lovey. And I was able to complete that as well. And for both of these, I'm using the Himalaya Medical Baby. It is a very fine 3-weight yarn, and I was using a 5mm crochet hook. And I did complete, this time I did the solid 5-point star little lovey, and here it is. And for here I used sort of between a periwinkle blue, it's like a gray bluey color, and yellow. And I've made it just a lovey side, which is, I think it's 45 centimeters basically. And I really couldn't decide what did I want to add, you know, to make a little lovey character. While I was pondering that, I also thought about what could I perhaps put on the points of this lovey. And I decided to put some little stars. Now, it might seem like a lot of work, but it really isn't. This goes very quickly. And you use the tail that you leave once you finish the star. And I've just sewed them into the points over here. So that gives me a little something extra on this lovey, is all these little stars on the 5 different points. But I still wanted to have something a little more interactive, and I decided to make a little 5-point star plushie. This was made with a 4.5 millimeter hook and Kismet velvet plush. I don't think I have here's this plush yarn. And this was a free Instagram pattern, and I'll have the details of that in the description at the bottom as well. Now, yes, I haven't put any faces on it, and I've sort of used this grey bluey color, which I think does match with the lovey. What I did extra though was at the back of the lovey, I did a little chain, slip stitched and single crocheted back in each chain to give a little loop like this. So now you can actually take your lovey and just pull it through this loop like that. And even if you're holding this, it doesn't come out undone. And now you do still have your interactive little squishy as well as the lovey all in one. So to me, it's like a 2-in-1 grab in the go. You know, when you're heading out somewhere and you wanted something small, you would be able to just take Baba's little, hopefully favorite lovey to travel in the car or out for play dates. And also have the interactive little plushy star, which you can remove or safely add to the lovey, and off they'd go and have a play. So these I have just taken photographs. I want to email them off to Sally for Saturday's video, where there are some gorgeous all sorts of colors and variations of star blankets to be seen. Now, as I'm explaining these stars with you, I'm also going to add the following into the description for anybody who might want to have some details on little star appliques. So as I was searching to find out what I would do with this one, I came across different types of stars, and I do like these. These are from 2 different YouTube videos. They both give you the same result. They are both just crocheted slightly differently. And I do love these little ones as much as the ones that I actually chose to put on the lovey. Now, I have noted that one of them, I think the first one, which is the one that I did in yellow, I have noted where I've shared the links to these video tutorials that this particular one, it's not a spoken tutorial. There's music that plays and the pattern appears on the screen. And for this one, the YouTuber that gives the tutorial, she does talk you through it, and it is very beginner friendly. So those two little stars, and then the ones that I made to add to the lovey. This is a tutorial that I'm going to share that actually shows all 5 different sizes of little stars that you can make. And of course, depending on your yarn and hook size, you could make them even smaller or larger. But this one is also, there is music playing and the patterns appear on the screen. Just a heads up, because sometimes people prefer different types of tutorials and sometimes they don't really want to have the ones with the music, or heads up, you can mute for the music. So this one starts with this size, and all of these I made with the Himalaya Baby Medical and a 2.5 millimeter crochet hook, because that's what I needed for the lovey that I was doing. Then we went to this size. This is the size that I chose to put on to, no, this is the size that I put onto the lovey for each one. Then you have this size, and this size. Now I do believe this last one with the hook and the yarn that the YouTuber used, the measurements, she does share the measurements. I think this one would actually be 9 something centimeters. So again, depending on using the pattern, depending on the hook and the yarn that you use, would also determine the size of the star that you would be able to create. But, and with Christmas of July coming up and Christmas later on during the year, I was also having lots of ideas of, for instance, decorating glass jars to be recycled with some Christmas smellies in, like cinnamon sticks and star anise and so forth, or jars to be given with some biscuits in them. You could also just hot glue some of these, you know, to decorate a reusable glass jar, because they are really useful in the different sizes that this particular tutorial presents. And I'm pretty sure that's a wrap. Let's just double check. It was the star blankets with Nanny Moon's crochet, the roll a row with Lynn Penguin's Creations, our Build a Blanket 2026 with Coco's Crochet. Of course, Grumpy and his accessories every month. July is knocking on the door. It sure is. I am hoping to have at least 2 videos to share during the month of July with regards to Christmas Extravaganza 2026, which is hosted by K&K Crochet. So some fun and exciting videos for us in the future. And that's a wrap for now. Until I see you all again, I do wish you much joy on your crochet journeys or all the other crafting adventures that we like to get ourselves into mischief with, don't we? Until I see you all again, do take care. Bye.